which gleamed like black glass beneath the warm lights of Lexington Hall. Ethan Carter, janitor, 39, single, dad, war veteran, an invisible man in a suit and tie world moved like a shadow through the hushed grandeur of the hall. The gala was still hours away, but already the air buzzed with invisible electricity. Staff bustled inside. Quarters, clinking glasses, adjusting table linens. The floral team was arranging absurdly expensive white orchids. A violinist tested acoustics. And in the center of it all stood Ethan. Gently buffing the curved edge of the Steinway with a worn microfiber cloth, as if he were handling something sacred. He paused, not because he was finished, but because he wasn't ready to move on. His palm rested lightly on the wood, his eyes far away. "You're talking to furniture again," came a small voice behind him. He turned and smiled. Mia, his 8-year-old daughter, peeked in through the side curtain, cradling her sketchbook to her chest like it held state secrets. Blonde hair and a loose braid, oversized hoodie and sneakers with worn soles. She wasn't supposed to be here technically, but Ethan had made an exception. She'd been quiet all day, and when Mia went too quiet, Ethan paid attention. "Furniture," he said. "That's not furniture. That's a cathedral with 88 steps to heaven." Mia giggled softly. And sat cross-legged just beyond the light, her pencil scratched across the page. Ethan returned to his work. With one hand, he polished the last corner of the piano. With the other, he traced a memory. He'd once sat at a piano like this before life turned into bills, overtime and emergency room visits. Before Emily, Mia's mother, slipped away. On a hospital bed, before grief became background noise. "Mr. Carter." A sharp voice snapped from across the stage. Ethan looked up. A woman in a dark blazer, clipboard in hand, stood near the entrance, frowning. "Could you please be quick with that? Miss Sinclair will be arriving soon, and everything needs to look immaculate." Ethan nodded without speaking. He never did in moments like these. He understood his place. But as he bent down to gather his cleaning supplies, another voice sliced through the air, this one laced with theatrical disdain. "My God, he's caressing it like it's his long-lost lover." The voice belonged to a tall man descending from the VIP balcony. Late 50s, silver hair, Italian shoes, the kind of man who wore smugness like cologne. Preston Hale. Music critic for the Times and patronizing connoisseur of real talent. A few staff nearby chuckled nervously. Ethan didn't look up. He gathered his cloths and brushes, slowly, methodically folding them with too much care. Preston continued undeterred. "It's always adorable when the help gets romantic with the decor. What's next?" "Vacuuming the carpet," with tears in his eyes. More laughter, louder this time. Ethan said nothing, but Mia had stopped drawing. Her eyes flicked to her father. She knew that look. His jaw just slightly clenched, the quiet stillness that meant a storm was gathering inside. He picked up his bucket, turned to walk off stage. "Wait," Preston called out, grinning. "Tell me something, janitor." Ethan stopped. "Do you even know what this is? This instrument you're so reverent with?" Ethan finally turned. He looked at Preston, not angry, not offended, just calm, steady. "Yes," he said. "It's a Steinway Model D, 9 feet long, 12,000 moving parts. The soundboard's made from Sitka spruce grown slow and high for resonance. The rim 17 layers of hard rock maple. The keys, originally ivory. Now composite. It costs more than your Mercedes and holds more stories than your column ever will." Silence fell like he had dropped curtain. Preston blinked. Ethan didn't wait for a reply. He turned and walked toward the wings. Mia stood quietly wide-eyed. He knelt beside her. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded. Ethan reached into his shirt pocket and pulled out a tiny music note charm. He placed it in her palm. "What's this for?" she whispered. "For remembering," he said. "That music isn't always played out loud." She clutched it tight. Just then, the grand double doors opened. A wave of voices flooded in. Lights were adjusted. Ushers skewered. The evening star guests arrived. Donor celebrities and above all, Ava Sinclair. She entered the hall. Not like a performer, but like someone used to owning rooms just by walking into them. Tailored black jumpsuit. Sharp eyes, controlled poise. A woman who had built empires, dissolved boardrooms and been called both genius and tyrant in the same breath. She scanned the stage, eyes landing briefly on the piano, then the lingering haze of silence. "Everything ready?" she asked her assistant. "Yes, Miss Sinclair. Final polish just completed." She approached the Steinway, running her fingers over the wood. Then, with a glance toward the wings, she caught sight of Ethan. Their eyes met just for a second. She said nothing, but her gaze lingered one breath too long before turning away. Ethan stood still, Mia beside him. The gala was about to begin. And no one, not even the woman who owned the stage, knew that the most unforgettable performance of the night wouldn't come from the program. It would come from the shadows, from calloused fingers, from a father with music buried under layers of dust waiting to rise again. How long do you need to make people forget you're human? Ava.